A lot of people don't know this. Movies like Top Gun was actually filmed on the Venice 2 camera by Sony, and they use a $30,000 HDR reference monitor to color correct it. Right now, I'm using a Sony FX3 connected to a Sony wireless microphone, so I know Sony makes great products. Today, we're going to take a look at the 55-inch Sony X77L. And I would tell you that this is where Sony starts for 2023. And I'm really thinking this, Sony really want to focus on their higher end TVs like mini LED and OLED, but they still want to make a bargain television just for the people who love the name. So let's get into it. First of all, this is a 60 Hertz television, still using that X1 processor, and it uses direct backlight, so I expect to see a little bit glow in the video. The 55-inch in this video retails around $590. On the back of it, you're going to find this smooth design with the Bravio logo in the corner. You can easily mount it on a wall, but you will need to use these little screws that come with it in the package. As far as your inputs, you have two USBs, a fiber optic output, a AV input for older devices like VCRs if you still have one, has three HDMIs, an Ethernet input, and the ATSC TV tuner. And keep this in mind that this TV does not have the newer ATSC 3.0 tuner, so you can get 4K over the air. Now when it comes to the feet, they just snap into place, and it comes with these little adapters right here so you can do some wire maintenance. And just so you guys know, I did make an unboxing video on this TV, so go check it out as soon as you're done here, because I'm going to fill in the blanks that we might not talk about on this particular video. Now with that being said, let's talk about some of the overview of this television. Well, first of all, this is an 8-bit panel with frame rate control. It uses the X1 processor, and they've been using this processor for a lot of years. Overall, it does produce really good colors. It's a 60 Hertz panel with 240 motion rate, but I couldn't find a nits rating on this television at this particular time. Another thing I want to point out is that this TV uses frame dimming, so you don't have those local dimming zones. And the last thing to mention here is that this TV does not support Adobe Vision. Now when it comes to picture quality, Sony's just hard to beat. As you notice on this demo that the black levels are not getting crushed in the backgrounds, and everything is just so lifelike and vivid. Now I want to show you guys an older movie to show you how well that it upscales, and it's doing a phenomenal job. Everything is clean, you got those great colors, and it's pretty sharp thanks to the processor built into this television. When I did my unboxing video, I showed you guys HDR content, and I really wasn't that excited. It seemed like it blew out a lot of the highlights. But what I did is went back into the gaming console that I used to play my demo disc, and then I calibrated the HDR, and now this TV looks spectacular on HDR. There's definitely a noticeable difference in the SDR content and the brightness in the HDR, and you can see that it has beautiful, vivid colors, and that's thanks to the Sony 4K X Reality Pro, which adjusts the picture quality and makes sure that everything is cleaned up, so the signal that you see on this TV is going to look as good as possible, and this works on any kind of content that you run through this television. Next, I want to show you guys a gray level test, and I will say that in the darker areas, it's going to be good, but when you get into the whiter levels, it just don't have that much separation. And the fact that this TV has 240 Hertz motion, it actually does a better job than the previous models that I reviewed, but it's not perfect. But rest assured, the processing on this TV is going to be spectacular compared to a lot of other TVs on the market, as far as looking very natural and very balanced. And I want to keep transparent with you guys, so I want to show you guys the backlights. Whenever I was doing my blooming test, you're just going to notice that the brighter you make the TV, you're just going to see it. And it's just because the direct LED technology is becoming a little bit outdated, and this TV uses frame dimmings, so you don't have any way to control it. Next, we're going to take a listen to the audio system, and then later on in the video, I'm going to compare the speakers built into it to one of Sony's soundbars, so make sure you stick around. But the biggest thing is that going through the menu, there's no true surround sound settings. It's either off or on. But if you have headphones, you can listen to the TV speakers. So here you go. The audio system is actually not that bad. I just can't figure out why they didn't leave presets in there like normally we see a theater mode or a sports mode and things like that, but that's what they decided to do. And hopefully they'll update the firmware and give us more options, because it's just a processor that can be programmed far as I know. Next, we're going to talk about gaming. Now, one thing that really stood out is when I got to those inputs is that you have 3 HDMIs. 2 of those HDMIs can be used for 4K 60 Hertz gaming. But if you want to get auto low latency, which basically puts the TV in a gaming mode, you have to use input 3. Now, the thing about that is that you're going to have to give up using a HDMI eARC soundbar if you want to get the best out of your gaming. So I couldn't figure out why Sony really did that, but that's the way it is. Next, I'm going to show you guys the settings in the Xbox, and you can see that it supports the 4K, 1080p, and 720p. When we go over to the TV details, you can see that it does not support 120 Hertz, nor does it support Dolby Vision. And in the video modes, it shows that it does have auto low latency, but it doesn't support the variable refresh rate or Dolby Vision. But the Dolby Vision game is checked off for some reason. So you can see it's in gaming mode. Let's go ahead and check it. So respectfully, anything that gets under 30 milliseconds is pretty good. And this TV is roughly getting about 10.4 to 10.5 milliseconds. I want to show you guys that this TV does have an anti-glare coating. So if you have lamps in a room or a lot of lights, it's going to actually do a fairly good job, considering that a lot of TVs that I review has weird stars as well as a lot of reflection that's showing everything behind it. But this Sony's doing really good. Very impressive. And this 55-inch must be a IPS panel because it looks really good. Even when I get to the size, you can see that it still looks good, but you can notice some blooming happening around the shadows. But ideal for fireplaces up high, perfect TV for that as well. The interesting thing about filming that is that I seen the Dolby Vision gaming at the bottom, but there's no Dolby Vision option. So I'm trying to figure out how the TV and why the TV is doing that. So maybe it's just a programming thing that's tricking out the Xbox or something like that. Another thing about this TV, it doesn't have that new gaming bar that Sony's starting to offer on their newer TVs. And maybe they'll offer that in an update in the future where you can have that option. Switching over to a PC, I want to show you guys that this TV will support 4096 by 2160. So you're going to be able to get true 4K images out of this TV. If you're using this TV as a computer monitor at 4K resolution, you're only going to get 24 Hertz. But if you drop down to 1080p, you can jump up to 60 Hertz, and that's going to give you a smoother mouse transition and getting through some of the screens, plus watching videos. But I loaded up a few applications, and I can tell you that the TV actually looks really good on the computer, so you will be happy with that. Or downloading new applications, this TV is going to have a really good, clean picture for you. Just keep in mind those frame rates if you plan on using it as a gaming monitor. Now, a lot of people love using TV speakers, and I'm going to tell you, if you watch a movie, you're just destroying the experience. So I'm going to show you guys how different it is to use TV speakers over something like this. This is the Sony XT-S2000. I did a video on this guy, and this thing will really turn your TV into a complete movie setup. So listen to the difference and let me know what you think. So here's my final thoughts about this TV, and I want to let you guys know this is not a sponsored video. I actually bought this TV myself because you guys love the X80K from last year and then X85K. With that being said, as far as picture quality, I think you're going to be satisfied with the picture, but I can't help but think that there's so many more options you can get for the money. But one thing that I do notice in the comments is no matter what TV I put against the Sony, most of you guys always pick the picture quality over anything else. I know that's a really important thing, so if you like the picture quality, I definitely would go to Sony and go with this one if you don't care about the bells and whistles. The things that I do notice is that if you're a gamer and you have an audio system Those inputs might mess you up a little bit because you only have the one with the auto low latency, but for the average consumer, maybe you don't even care. The second thing is because this uses direct backlight, you are going to see that light bleed in a dark room from time to time. So that is something that I want to be very transparent with you guys once again. But overall, I really like the picture quality. I really like the sound quality by itself, but if you get an audio system, it's a game changer. That's the only way I like to watch movies myself. What do you guys think? In the comments below, give me your thoughts. Do you like the fact that Sony are still making entry-level TVs? Or should Sony just keep making higher-end TVs and kind of, discontinue all this type of series? I don't think so. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.